I stared at the graduation gift in my hands, a handmade scrapbook filled with 6 years of sacrifices bound in leather and love. Now it felt as heavy as all the checks I'd written. My name is Carmen, and I just flew across 3 states to surprise my baby sister at her medical school graduation. The same sister I've supported through every semester, every exam, every emergency expense. While my friends bought houses and planned families, I worked 60-hour weeks and sent every spare dollar to ensure Natalia could become the doctor she'd always dreamed of being. The hallway to her apartment smelled like stale air and abandoned dreams. My knuckles rapped against the door. No answer. I tried again, louder this time. "Looking for Natalia?" A voice called from the neighbouring unit. An elderly woman peered out, curiosity etched on her face. "Haven't seen her in ages." "Mail's been piling up something fierce." My stomach dropped. "That's impossible. She has finals this week." The woman shook her head. "Honey, that girl hasn't lived here for months. Comes by sometimes late at night, but that's it." I fumbled with the spare key Natalia had given me for emergencies. The lock clicked open, and I stepped into a time capsule. Medical textbooks gathered dust on shelves. A white coat hung limply in the corner, the name tag still pristine. Natalia Daniels, medical student. But something was off. Behind the academic facade, I spotted a ring light, a professional camera, stacks of promotional products with price tags still attached. The apartment looked more like an influencer's staging area than a med student's crash pad. My phone rang. Mum's number. "Carmen, where are you?" "We've been trying to reach you." "I'm at Natalia's apartment." My voice sounded hollow. "Where is she?" "Oh, sweetheart." Mum's tone dripped with that familiar syrupy concern. "She was going to tell you after graduation. She's been struggling. Taking some time off?" "Time off? From what? When?" "Just come home. We'll explain everything." "No." I hung up and dialed the medical school's administrative office. My hands shook as I waited through 3 transfers.
Finally, a dean came on the line. "Hello, this is Dr. Morrison. How can I help you?" "I'm calling about my sister, Natalia Daniels. I need to confirm her graduation details." Silence stretched across the line. Then, "Ms. Daniels, there must be some mistake. Natalia hasn't been enrolled here since 2021. Frankly, we assumed the family had moved on." The room spun. 2021, 2 years ago. My voice cracked. "I've been paying her tuition, every semester." "Where's the money going?" "I'm sorry, but there haven't been any tuition payments posted to her account since she left. Perhaps you should speak with your family." I sank to the floor, surrounded by the elaborate stage set of my sister's lies. The scrapbook fell open, spilling photos across the dusty hardwood. 6 years of overtime shifts, of canceled dates with Jacob, of emergency wire transfers and tearful phone calls about lab fees and living expenses. My phone buzzed again. A text from Natalia. "Mom said you're here. Please don't be mad. I can explain everything." Below it, an Instagram notification caught my eye. I clicked it mechanically, and there she was. My baby sister, posing on a yacht in the Bahamas 3 days ago. The caption read, "Taking a much-needed break from residency life. Don't worry, patients. I'll be back soon." Doctor life or medical journey, Warren blessed, 40,000 followers. Sponsored posts. A perfectly curated lie funded by my blind devotion. Another text from Mom. "Come home now. Your father and I need to discuss something important about Natalia's future." I looked at the scattered photos around me. Birthdays I'd missed, vacations I couldn't afford, dreams I'd put on hold. All so Natalia could become a doctor. Instead, she'd become something else entirely. A fraud. And my parents? They had to have known. The rage built slowly, then all at once. 6 years of being the perfect sister, the reliable daughter, the endless ATM. For what? So they could laugh behind my back while Natalia lived her best life on my dime? I stood up, leaving the scrapbook where it fell. They wanted me to come home? Fine. But they had no idea what was coming with me. My phone buzzed one more time. Mom again. Natalia needs another small loan. $30,000 for her new business venture. We can discuss when you get here. I smiled for the first time since landing. They thought I was still their angel? Time to show them exactly what I'd learned from all those years in hell. The Uber pulled up to my parents' colonial-style house, the one I'd helped them keep during the recession. Every window blazed with light, like they were putting on a show. Maybe they always had been. I found them in the living room, arranged like a Norman Rockwell painting gone wrong. Mom perched on her favorite armchair, Dad slouched in his recliner, both wearing expressions of rehearsed concern. "Carmen, sweetheart." Mom rushed to hug me. I stepped back. "Where's Natalia?" "She's on her way." Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. "But first, we need to talk about..." "About what?" I pulled out my phone, showing them the Instagram posts. "About how she's been living it up while I worked myself to death? Or about how you've all been lying to me for 2 years?" Mom's face tightened. "It's not what you think." Natalia needed a break. Medical school was crushing her spirit. We couldn't bear to see her suffer. "Suffer?" I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make Dad flinch. "I've been sending $4,000 a month. Where did it go?" "Living expenses," Mom said quickly. "And investments. For her future." "You mean yacht trips? Designer clothes? Her influencer setup?" "That's her business now." Mom brightened, like she'd been waiting to share good news. "She's building a brand, a medical lifestyle empire. She has sponsors, partnerships. She's not a doctor, Mom. She's committing fraud." "Don't be dramatic." Dad finally spoke up. "She's rebranding her medical knowledge." "What medical knowledge?" "She dropped out." The front door opened, and Natalia breezed in wearing clothes that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Her perfectly styled hair and camera-ready makeup made my travel-worn appearance feel even worse. "Carmen." She moved to hug me, but my glare stopped her. "I can explain everything." "Please do. Start with where my money went." "I needed it for my platform." Natalia's lower lip trembled, a move I'd seen her perfect since childhood. "Do you know how expensive it is to build an influencer business? The equipment, the travel, the networking, the lying?" "I'm not lying. I'm inspiring people. My followers love my medical content." "What medical content? You're not a doctor." "But I could have been." "That's what matters." Tears spilled down her cheeks, somehow not smudging her mascara. "And now I can help more people through my platform than I ever could in a hospital." Mom jumped in. "That's why we needed to talk to you. Natalia has an amazing opportunity. A wellness brand wants to partner with her for a product line, but we need seed money." $30,000, I said flatly. "It's an investment." Natalia clasped her hands together. "I'll pay you back double once it launches." I walked to the mantel, picking up a family photo from last Christmas. "How long were you all going to keep this up?" "Keep what up?" Dad asked weakly. "This con. This perfect family fantasy, where I'm the reliable ATM, and Natalia's the golden child who can do no wrong." "Now you're just being bitter," Mom snapped. "We're family. We support each other." "Support?" I slammed the photo down. "I haven't taken a vacation in 6 years. I lost Jacob because I couldn't commit to a future while paying for hers. I've put off having children because I couldn't afford both tuition and fertility treatments." "Oh, please." Natalia rolled her eyes. "Not everything is about your biological clock." Something snapped inside me. "You're right. It's about the fact that I sacrificed everything while you played dress-up doctor on Instagram. Carmen, Mom's voice turned steel cold. You're being hysterical. Just calm down and we can discuss the investment. No. The silence was deafening. What did you say? Mom whispered. No, but I may have something better. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through photos. Something long overdue. What are you talking about? Natalia stepped closer, trying to peek at my screen. I showed them a picture of documents, papers they'd signed years ago during what they thought was a simple refinancing. Remember when you needed help with the mortgage? When you were about to lose the house? I smiled, and for once, it wasn't forced. Well, I've been doing some reading, and it turns out I've learned a lot more than just how to write checks. Mom's face went pale. Dad started to stand, then sank back down. Carmen, he started, whatever you're thinking, I'm thinking it's time this family learned about consequences. I headed for the door, pausing only to look back at their shocked faces. See you all tomorrow, bright and early. We have some paperwork to discuss. The next morning, I sat in Benjamin's study, surrounded by law books and the smell of old leather. Our elderly neighbor had been a successful attorney before retiring, and more importantly, he'd watched our family drama unfold for decades. You've been busy, he said, reviewing the documents spread across his desk. Very busy indeed. I sipped the coffee he'd made. I had a lot of sleepless nights to fill. While sending money to your sister? He raised an eyebrow. Not just sending it, learning. I pulled out a small notebook, its pages crammed with calculations and legal notes. Every time they asked for money, I studied. Financial literacy, property law, investment strategies. Turns out insomnia is great for self-education. Benjamin picked up the power of attorney document. And this is quite something. Remember when they almost lost the house in 2019? They were so desperate to sign anything that would save it. I leaned forward. They didn't even read the fine print. Where did you get the money? He adjusted his reading glasses. The mortgage payments alone. Side jobs, medical billing by day, freelance writing by night. Plus, I started investing small amounts. Nothing fancy, just index funds and careful planning. I smiled grimly. They thought I was working overtime for Natalia's tuition. I was really building my own safety net. Benjamin whistled low. And now you own 60% of their house. Technically, I own all of it. The refinancing transferred the deed to my name, with them as tenants. They just never noticed. Because they never read their mail, Benjamin finished. Too busy managing your sister's career, I suppose. A knock at the study door made us both look up. Benjamin's wife, Margaret, entered with more coffee and a knowing look. I saw your parents leaving for breakfast earlier, she said. Susan was wearing her pearls, the ones she only wears when she's trying to impress someone. Probably meeting with Natalia's latest business contact. I accepted a fresh cup. They have no idea what's coming. Benjamin gathered the papers into a folder. Everything's in order. The eviction notice is legal, though they'll have 30 days to vacate. Are you sure about this, Carmen? They had 6 years to be honest with me. My voice didn't waver. 6 years of watching me work myself to exhaustion while they funded Natalia's influencer fantasies with my money. And the trust fund you mentioned? I pulled out my phone, showing him the banking app. Every cent they claimed went to tuition. I tracked it, calculated the interest, set up a separate account. I scrolled through the transactions. Nearly $200,000, plus compound interest. Margaret touched my shoulder. Your mother will never forgive you. She never approved of me anyway. I stood, gathering my things. I was just the reliable one, the boring one, the human ATM. And now? Benjamin asked. Now I'm their landlord. I took the folder from him. and their tenant-landlord relationship is about to become very complicated. My phone buzzed. A text from Angelina, my coworker. Did you do it yet? Girl, I've got wine ready either way. Another buzz. Mom. We're meeting with Natalia's brand manager for lunch. He says the investment opportunity is time-sensitive. When can you bring the check? I showed the messages to Benjamin and Margaret. See? They still think I'm going to pay. That's how sure they are of their control. What will you do when they realize? Margaret asked softly. I pulled out one last document, a restraining order application. I'm prepared for everything. They taught me that, at least. Always have a backup plan. Benjamin stood, walking me to the door. You know, I watched you grow up. Always the responsible one. Always taking care of everyone else. He paused. It's about time you took care of yourself. That's the thing about being the perfect daughter, I said, stepping onto his porch. No one expects you to know how to fight back. As I walked home, another text came through, this time from Jacob, my ex. Angelina told me what's happening. Need backup? 6 years ago, I'd chosen my sister's future over a life with him. Now, standing on the sidewalk between my parents' house and my own apartment, I typed back, Actually, yes. Want to help me serve some papers? His response was immediate. On my way. And Carmen? It's about damn time. I looked up at my parents' house, my house now, and felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Power. They'd made me their bank. Now they'd learn exactly what happens when the bank forecloses. Jacob's presence beside me felt both familiar and strange as we walked up the driveway. The eviction notice crinkled in my hand, bright orange and impossible to ignore. You okay? He asked. No, but I'm done being nice. I taped the notice to the front door, right at eye level. We didn't have to wait long. A car screeched into the driveway, Mom, Dad, and Natalia, all dressed for their business lunch. Mom saw the notice first and froze. Carmen! Her voice climbed an octave. What is this? Legal documentation. I held up the folder. We need to talk. Is that Jacob? Natalia's eyes widened. She smoothed her hair reflexively. Mom snatched the notice off the door. Eviction? This is ridiculous. We're your parents. Let's take this inside. Dad fumbled with his keys, looking anywhere but at me. The living room felt smaller with all of us there. Jacob stood by the window, a silent guardian. I placed the folder on the coffee table. You have 30 days to vacate the premises. Vacate? Mom laughed shrilly. This is our house. Actually, I slid the deed across the table. It's mine. Has been for almost 2 years. Dad grabbed the paper, his hands shaking. This is impossible. We only gave you power of attorney for the refinancing. Read it again. All of it this time. Natalia paced behind the couch. This is insane. You can't just throw our parents out. Like you didn't just throw away $200,000 of my money? That was an investment in my future. In your lies, I corrected. Every post, every fake medical story, every sponsored doctor tip, it's all fraud. It's content creation. Natalia stamped her foot. God, you're so stuck in the past. This is the new economy. Enough. Mom stood, pearls rattling. Carmen, whatever game you're playing stops now. We're your family. Family? Jacob spoke for the first time. Is that what you call taking advantage of your daughter for 6 years? Stay out of this, Mom snapped. You lost the right to an opinion when you broke her heart. I broke her heart. Jacob stepped forward. You made her choose between my proposal and Natalia's tuition. A tuition that wasn't even real. Dad looked up from the papers, face ashen. We can fix this. Carmen, please. We'll pay you back. With what money? I pulled out my notebook. The $40,000 you spent on Natalia's medical wardrobe? The $30,000 for her influencer setup? Or maybe the vacation fund you drained for her Bahamas photo shoots? Natalia burst into tears. You're just jealous. You always hated that I was doing something different, something better. Better? I laughed. You're pretending to be a doctor on Instagram while living off my actual medical career. Stop it, Mom grabbed my arm. We did what was best for the family. I yanked away. Best for Natalia, you mean? Like always. Dad, Natalia suddenly shouted. Tell her it was your idea. The room went silent. Dad seemed to shrink into himself. What idea? I turned to him. What did you do? I told her to take the money, he whispered, when she first dropped out. I said you wouldn't notice if we kept asking for tuition, that you never checked the details anyway. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. Jacob moved closer, his hand steady on my shoulder. You coached her? My voice cracked. You actually taught her how to scam me? We needed the money, Dad pleaded. Your mother's shopping debts, the house payments. So you stole from me? Your own daughter? We were going to pay you back, Natalia interjected. Once my brand takes off, get out. The words came cold and clear. What? Mom stepped back. Get out. You have 30 days to find a new place. After that, I'm changing the locks. You can't do this. Mom looked wildly around the room. We're your parents, your family. I walked to the door and held it open. No, you're my tenants. And you're being evicted. They stared at me, these strangers wearing my family's faces. Then Mom grabbed her purse and stormed out, Dad trailing behind. Natalia lingered, mascara running. You'll regret this, she hissed, when my followers hear how you treated your own family. Try it, I smiled. I have receipts. Lots of them. Want to see who the internet believes? She fled, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. In the sudden quiet, Jacob touched my hand. You okay? I looked around the house that was now truly mine. No, but I will be. The next morning, Angelina brought coffee to my office, locked the door, and demanded details. I was halfway through explaining when my phone lit up with a notification. Natalia had gone live on Instagram. Don't, Angelina warned, but I was already clicking. And I've been keeping this private, trying to protect them. Natalia's voice cracked perfectly on camera. But my parents are struggling. Dad's health is declining, and Mom's been working so hard to support my medical journey. I've been their rock, their caregiver. That lying little... Angelina started. Wait. I held up my hand. Look at the comments. The stream was flooded with sympathetic messages and donation offers. Natalia dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. I've been paying their bills, supporting them through everything. But now, with my residency demands, my phone rang. Jacob. Are you seeing this? He asked. Oh, I'm seeing it. She's using my life story to scam people. Check your email. I sent you something. I opened my inbox to find a folder of screenshots. Dozens of them. Natalia's posts going back years, each one building the fictional narrative of her medical career and family sacrifice. She's been planning this, Jacob said. Building sympathy, creating a backstory. Look at the donation links. I scrolled through the images. These timestamps? She started this the same month she dropped out. A knock at my office door interrupted us. Dad stood there, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Can we talk? I hung up and nodded to Angelina, who squeezed my shoulder before leaving. Dad took her seat. Your mother doesn't know I'm here. Let me guess. You need money. No. He pulled out an old envelope. You need to see these. Inside were printouts of old emails between him and Natalia's medical school. disciplinary reports, plagiarism warnings, failed exams. She never passed a single semester on her own, he said quietly. We paid people to take her tests in undergrad, faked her admission essays. When she got to med school, you couldn't fake it anymore. He nodded. The school caught her cheating 3 months in. They were going to report her to the medical board, but we begged them to let her withdraw quietly. And you still let me send money? Your mother? He twisted his hands. She couldn't accept it, said we had to maintain appearances. When Natalia started gaining followers pretending to be a medical student, it seemed like a way out. A way out of what? The shame. The debt. Your mother's spending was out of control. We used your money for her credit cards, for Natalia's brand, for everything we couldn't afford but couldn't admit to not having. My computer pinged. Another Instagram notification. Natalia was sharing a GoFundMe page. Help support my parents through medical crisis. Did you know about this? I turned the screen to him. His face fell. She's gone too far. Gone too far? Where exactly was the line, Dad? When you helped her fake her way into med school? When you coached her on how to keep stealing from me? Or now, when she's committing actual fraud? I was weak, he whispered. I've always been weak. Your mother and Natalia, they're so much alike. So demanding. So sure they deserve everything they want. And you were always so strong. So capable. So exploitable. He flinched. Yes. I pulled up the folder Jacob sent. I have proof. Of everything. The fake transcripts, the withdrawn enrollment, the money trail. One phone call to the right authorities. Please, he stood up. Your mother couldn't handle a scandal. Like I couldn't handle working myself to death? Like I couldn't handle losing Jacob? Like I couldn't handle watching my dreams die while funding Natalia's lies? My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. Your sister is trying to help us and you're being selfish. Call me immediately. I showed Dad the message. Still think I'm the strong one? He reached for the door. What are you going to do? I opened my email, starting a new message to Jacob. I'm going to show everyone exactly who's been taking care of whom. And Dad? He paused. When this hits the fan, remember, you chose this. Every time you could have told me the truth, you chose the lie. The door clicked shut behind him. I started typing to Jacob. Ready to help me end an influencer's career? His response was immediate. I thought you'd never ask. Jacob's office at the PR firm buzzed with energy as we prepared our counterattack. 3 screens displayed different aspects of Natalia's digital life. Her Instagram, the GoFundMe that had already raised $23,000, and her upcoming sponsored posts. She's good, Jacob's colleague Maria muttered, scrolling through engagement metrics. Every post is perfectly crafted for maximum sympathy. Show them what we found, Jacob nudged me. I pulled out my files. 6 years of bank statements, proof of withdrawn enrollment, the plagiarism reports. And this, I opened a folder of screenshots. Every lie she's told about being a medical resident, time-stamped against her actual location data. Those Bahamas posts where she claimed to be on hospital rotation? Maria grinned. Pure gold. Jacob typed furiously. We'll start with the medical board. She's practicing medicine without a license by giving health advice to followers. Her sponsors next, Maria added. They hate fraud more than anything. My phone lit up. Natalia was calling. I declined. You sure about this? Jacob asked softly. Once we push send... Play it, I said. Maria clicked on a video from Natalia's stories. I've sacrificed everything for my family. Natalia's voice broke perfectly. Working hospital shifts, sending every penny home. I pulled up my own video. Security footage from her apartment building showing her coming and going at all hours, carrying shopping bags while I worked double shifts. Release everything, I nodded. All of it. Jacob pressed enter. Within minutes, the first comments appeared on Natalia's latest post. Fraud. Show us your medical license. This girl's sister paid for everything. My phone exploded with notifications. Screenshots of my bank statements, showing years of transfers, spread across Twitter. The medical school's confirmation of Natalia's withdrawal went viral. Her carefully curated house of cards began to collapse. Her sponsors are pulling out, Maria reported, refreshing her screen. 3 canceled deals already. The GoFundMe disappeared. Natalia's Instagram went private, then public again with a tearful live video. These attacks on my character, she sobbed. My sister is just jealous of my success. I clicked share on the plagiarism reports. The wellness brand partnership? Jacob checked his email. Cancelled. Her follower count is dropping, Maria announced. She's losing them by the thousands. My phone rang again. Mom. What have you done? She screamed without greeting. Do you know what you've ruined? You mean like you ruined my life? We're your family. How could you expose us like this? The same way you exposed my bank account? Or how Natalia exposed my story for clicks? She's having a breakdown. The brands are demanding their advance payments back. Not my problem. It is your problem. We're being evicted. Your sister's career is destroyed. Your father... I hung up. Jacob squeezed my shoulder. You okay? No. I watched as Natalia's follower count plummeted. But I'm right. A new notification popped up. A message from one of Natalia's biggest sponsors. We'd like to speak with you about your sister's fraudulent activities. Our legal team will be in touch. It's going nuclear, Maria whispered. My phone buzzed with a text from Angelina. Girl, you're trending. Fake doc Natalia is everywhere. Another notification. Natalia had unblocked me to send a DM. You've ruined everything, she wrote. I hope you're happy. Mom's crying, Dad's not speaking, and I'm getting death threats. All because you couldn't stand seeing me succeed. I typed back, succeed at what? Stealing my life story? Lying to thousands? Fraud? I'm coming over, she replied. We need to talk, face to face. No, I wrote. We don't. I blocked her number, her social media, everything. Then I looked at Jacob and Maria. Thank you, both of you. Are you ready for what comes next? Jacob asked. This isn't over. I know. I gathered my things. But for the first time in 6 years, I'm not paying for someone else's next move. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a final notification. A news outlet requesting comment on the medical influencer fraud story. Want to tell your side? Jacob asked. I thought about all the nights I'd stayed silent, all the checks I'd written, all the dreams I'd deferred. Yes, I said. I think it's finally my turn to speak. Maria started typing. Where should we begin? I smiled. How about, let me tell you about the price of being the perfect daughter. The pounding on my apartment door started at 3 a.m. I knew it was Natalia before I even checked the security camera. Open up! Her mascara-streaked face pressed against my doorbell camera. You have to fix this! I pressed the intercom. Go home, Natalia. Home? What home? The one you're evicting us from? She slumped against the door in her silk pajamas. Everything's gone. The sponsors want their money back. My followers are calling me a criminal. Mom's having panic attacks. Should have thought about that before running a 6-year con. Let me in, please. I'll explain everything. Against my better judgment, I opened the door. Natalia stumbled in, looking nothing like her polished Instagram persona. You've destroyed my life, she spat. Funny. That's exactly how I felt when I found out you'd stolen 6 years of mine. She collapsed onto my couch. I never meant for it to go this far. It just happened. One lie led to another, and suddenly I had followers, sponsors, opportunities, and my money. I was going to pay you back. Once my brand took off— Your brand, I laughed. You mean your fake medical persona? The one where you stole my actual career experiences and pretended they were yours? I made them better, more inspirational. She sat up straighter. Do you know how many people I helped? By giving fraudulent medical advice? Yeah, the medical board's really interested in that. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Mom and Dad. Perfect, I muttered, letting them in. Family reunion at 3 a.m. Carmen, Mom started, her voice hoarse. The bank called. They're freezing our accounts due to suspected fraud. Imagine that. Fraud has consequences. This isn't funny. She grabbed my arm. We could lose everything. Like I lost my chance at having kids? My relationship with Jacob? My 20s? Oh, stop being dramatic. Natalia rolled her eyes. Not everything is about your biological clock. Something snapped. Years of pent-up rage burst free. You want to talk about dramatics? I pulled up the bank app on my TV screen. Let's discuss your yacht rentals while I was working overtime, or Mom's shopping sprees with my tuition money, or Dad's silent compliance while you all robbed me blind. We didn't rob you, Mom protested. Really? I started scrolling through transactions. February 2021. Emergency lab fees. Actually, a spa weekend. March 2021. Medical books. Designer handbags. April 2021. Housing deposit. Botox appointments. Stop it, Natalia screamed. Why? Isn't this what influencers do? Share their authentic lives? Dad stepped forward. Carmen, please, we can work something out. Like what? Another lie? Another scheme? I turned to him. You know what hurts the most? You all thought I was too stupid to figure it out, too reliable to fight back. We thought you loved us enough to help, Mom whispered. Love? I laughed bitterly. Love isn't an ATM, Mom. Love isn't fraud. I'm being audited, Natalia whimpered. The IRS wants to know about my income. The brands want their advances back. I could go to jail. Should have thought about that before claiming to be a medical professional. Mom sank onto the couch. What do you want from us? An apology? I want 6 years of my life back. I want the family I thought I had. I want— My voice cracked. I want to know why I wasn't enough for you to just tell me the truth. Silence filled the room. Then Natalia stood up, her face hardening. You want the truth? Fine. You were always the boring one, the reliable one, the one who would never say no. Why would we give that up? Mom gasped. Dad stepped back, but I just smiled. Thank you, I said quietly. For what? For finally being honest. I walked to my door and held it open. Now get out, all of you. The eviction stands. The fraud reports stand. Everything stands. Carmen, Dad tried one last time. We're your parents. No, you're strangers who happened to raise me. And now you're trespassers in my apartment at 3 a.m. They filed out, Mom crying, Dad slouching, Natalia glaring. Before she left, my sister turned back. You'll regret this, she hissed. Family is forever. I met her eyes. No, Natalia. Family is a choice. And I'm finally choosing myself. The door clicked shut on their protests, and for the first time in years, the silence felt like freedom. The morning sun streamed through my new condo's windows as I finished unpacking the last box. Jacob handed me a coffee, stealing a kiss as Angelina arranged flowers on the kitchen island. Final box? She asked. Final everything. I placed the framed article on my wall, my first published piece in The Atlantic. The price of a tuition lie. How family obligation became financial fraud. My phone buzzed with a text from Benjamin. Thought you'd want to know. They're finally moving out today. Want to drive by? Jacob offered. I shook my head. No need. That chapter's closed. Angelina picked up her phone. Speaking of chapters, have you seen Natalia's latest post? I thought she was banned. New account. Listen to this. My journey to authenticity begins today. No more facades. No more pretending. Just real stories about mental health, family trauma, and healing. Healing? I snorted. Is that what she calls community service for fraud? The comments are brutal, Angelina scrolled. Didn't you steal your sister's money? Fake doctor alert. How's that medical board investigation going? At least she's not giving medical advice anymore, Jacob said. My laptop pinged with an email notification. Mom's name appeared in my inbox for the first time since the eviction. You don't have to read it, Jacob touched my shoulder. No, I want to. I opened the message. Carmen, the house is empty now. Your father and I are moving to Florida to live with Aunt Sarah. Natalia's going to Arizona for a fresh start. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know, you were always enough. We were the ones who weren't. Mom. You okay? Angelina asked softly. Actually, yes. I closed the laptop. It's not an apology, but it's probably the most honest thing she's ever written. The doorbell rang. Benjamin stood there with Margaret, holding a housewarming gift. We brought something from the old neighborhood, Margaret said, handing me a small box. Inside was a framed photo, me at 12, sitting on their porch swing, reading a book. You were always at our house, Benjamin smiled. Such a bright, curious girl. We used to wonder why your parents couldn't see what we saw. They saw it, I said. They just saw it as something they could use. My phone buzzed again, a notification from my bank. The restitution payment from Natalia's sponsored posts had cleared. The money she'd been ordered to repay. What are you going to do with it? Jacob asked. I pulled up another email I'd been drafting. Remember that women's scholarship program we talked about? Angelina peered at the screen. The one for students whose families sabotaged their education? The Carmen Daniels Foundation, I read aloud. Supporting women who choose themselves. Perfect. Jacob squeezed my hand. Turn the pain into purpose. Benjamin raised his coffee cup. To new beginnings. And real family, Margaret added, hugging me. I looked around my sun-filled living room at these people who'd chosen to stand by me. Jacob, who came back when I finally chose myself. Angelina, who never stopped believing in me. Benjamin and Margaret, who showed me what real parental love looked like. My phone lit up one last time. A text from Natalia. I know you probably won't read this, but I'm sorry. Not for getting caught, for taking advantage of the only person who ever really believed in me. Goodbye, sis. I showed it to Jacob. Think she means it? Does it matter? No, I realized. It really doesn't. Angelina called from the kitchen. Hey, who's hungry? I'm ordering from that new place down the street. As everyone gathered around my kitchen island, debating pizza toppings and sharing stories, I felt something settle in my chest. Not forgiveness. I wasn't there yet. But peace. The kind that comes from finally breaking free. I picked up my coffee and joined my chosen family, leaving the empty picture frames from my parents' house in the donation box where they belonged. Some spaces were better left unfilled. Some stories were better left ended. And some endings were really beginnings in disguise. Hey, Jacob nudged me. Where'd you go just now? I smiled, real and free. Nowhere. I'm right where I belong. Around me, laughter and love filled my new home. Not the kind that demanded sacrifice, but the kind that helped you grow. Not the kind that kept score, but the kind that kept faith. The kind I'd chosen for myself.